Happy Thanksgiving. And as a Thanksgiving treat, you think that, Diggle's wife might be able to, I don't know, pull some strings, be like, lay off Oliver Queen because it's only an FBI investigation?
Welcome to the heart of the stories we tell. My name is Rob, and tonight I will be reviewing.
Arrow, episode 7 of season 6, Thanksgiving. And like I said, happy Thanksgiving to everyone. This show has been going strong for 6 seasons, and it was really more about Team Arrow, but, whatever. Anyone that follows comic books knows that there were ebbs and flows and goods and bads, and I haven't been covering this one as much, mostly because The Orville is a much better series. That's not saying this is a bad one, but just in general. This show has done some upbeat and some downbeat. They've changed a whole bunch of things from the comics. And this week we get what is probably one of the most stereotypical comic book dramas. Oh my god, my secret identity has been exposed. Oh my god, I've been arrested for doing the superhero work. Alright, well, there's a lot to unpack, and before we do, if this is your first time here, what I do here is I dissect stories, I come up with whys and hows that we tell stories, and in general, I just explore what it means to be a storyteller and what these stories mean. If that sounds interesting, click that subscribe button, because we're getting ready to do a 4-part episode that point blank is going to blow us away and have lots of things for us to cover. But much like Flash and Legends, I'm kind of weirded out at how much plotline is left dangling at the end of this. I mean, realistically, everything going on with Caden James and Arrow's secret identity, we're about to go into a big multiverse crossover. Alright, well, let's throw this up there and talk specifics of tonight's episode.
So once again, it's stop. Spoiler time.
So the arresting of Oliver Queen is BS on so many levels. I mean, obviously we know he's guilty. He is the Arrow and has been. And, most people with common sense could probably figure that out. But what I mean is the way they arrested him. You don't arrest public figures like that in the middle of a crowded press conference, especially someone who's dangerous. What if he really was just going to go all-out Arrow mode and attack and jump away? Which, I mean, he could have. He could have parkoured out of there, I'm sure. Well, just food for thought. So we have plenty of villains running around, but right now Caden James is the one that's taking to the forefront. He's doing the equivalent of Oracle, or well, in this series, Overwatch, running from the background in the computers while he sends his team out. His team leader, his anti-Arrow, is Black Siren. Black Siren's a really awesome take on the Black Canary character. In fact, it's the Black Canary most people wished they had gotten from Laurel, because she's a martial artist, she's badass, and she can control that sonic scream better than most. Meanwhile, the person hunting her isn't Oliver, but Diggle in the hood. Over the last couple of weeks, we've learned that Diggle is not in fighting shape. Alright, so that's bad enough, but he's lying about it and using drugs to cover that up. And we gotta drive home. Drugs are bad, okay? Meanwhile, the rest of Team Arrow doesn't seem to be able to work together when they don't have a forceful leader, which I call BS on also, because when Oliver Queen isn't riding them, they still do really good together. In fact, they split up on a regular basis. Now, yeah, you could say to a certain extent that none of them are making the big calls, right? But again, each and every one of those individuals is obviously showcased on multiple occasions. They can make those big calls. But in order to drive the story element, we kind of have to forget that and say that without Diggle, they're nothing. Without Ollie, they're nothing. And I want to actually talk about Diggle for a second. Is he really Green Arrow at this point? I mean, even in the way he acts, he picked up some of the worst character traits, but not most of the best. And honestly, if anything, I'd say that even when Ollie's in the field, Overwatch calls the shots more often than not. But okay, so the main plot of tonight was the concert. And that's another thing that just really kind of made me roll my eyes a bit. The mayor can't declare a concert venue closed or call in any favors. Alright. Caden James totally had this wrapped up. You bring the heroes out, you make them showcase their worst talents, like the fact that they were willing to fight anyone, including people in police officers' uniforms, and boom, you have an instant way to manipulate the polls. You don't need to hack, although he probably could have. You just need to change the way people think about the vigilantes. And I can't stress enough that there really are vigilante laws, and there are Good Samaritan laws. You can help people without counting as a vigilante. Arrow always kinda crosses that line back and forth way too easily, for my opinion. But the episode was pretty awesome, and we really get what Caden James' actual goal is. Something happened to his son, and we don't know the details, but he wants to take Oliver's things that he loves most from him. And part of that is if he can get him exposed to be the Arrow, if he can get him exposed to be Green Arrow, then he takes the team away from him. He puts him in jail, and his son ends up going into the system because he has no family. It's a pretty good way to turn the legal system into your weapon of vengeance. And of course, having Black Siren on his side doesn't hurt. Overall, the episode was an alright episode and a pretty good season. But there's two scenes I want to pull out specifically. The first is when Quentin and Diana are talking about what it means to be responsible. This is like classic superhero 101. If I don't kill the villain and the villain goes out and kills someone, am I responsible for that person's death? If I don't save everyone, is that my fault? And they have a really great conversation about believing in the best in people, especially those they love, not being a weakness. Of course, the difference being one of those two people is actually someone they love, and the other one's the alternate evil dimension version of the... I mean, is there part of me that wonders why Black Siren doesn't have a goatee? Either way, that was a great scene, one that really showcases how well written the series can be. The next one I want to pull out is a wake-up. Thea's been down and out for half the season already, after the explosions on Lian Yu. We always knew she'd come back and that the actress was going to still be a part of the show, so this wasn't a huge surprise, except for the when it happened. I wonder if we're going to get to see her in the crossover, if part of that is why they brought her back. Because remember, she stopped being Speedy and started again just for the alien invasion last year. But at the same time, well, I'm glad to have Thea back. I now also am still wondering what this means for the crossover. Crisis on Earth X is going to be a big story, one that even involves moving this show to Monday next week. So, I will see you then. For now, those were my thoughts. I wonder about yours. Did you think that this episode was strong? Do you think that we're going to get to see more Vigilante? And what do you think of Caden James as being the evil Overwatch, the evil Oracle? Especially since we already know there's a calculator out there. And of course, since this is the end of the video, I need to ask you to hit that thumbs up button to like and share this video. And of course, if you haven't already, subscribe to join our little community here. What I'm trying to do is find a way to talk about all of these stories, the hows and the whys. And since coming up very shortly, we're going to have this big story to talk about in the 4-night crossover with Nazi Earth and Crisis on Earth X, why don't you join us for that? For now, I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving. Hope you didn't eat too much turkey, and thank you for walking with me through the heart of the stories we tell.